Hi everybody, it's Dwillis, Kiwi Scrapper from New Zealand. This is a promotional video response for Irene Seriously Scrapping channel. She's having her first altered box or birdcage challenge. Now this challenge is a combined challenge. I've already done the video response to promote part 1, which is making a tag. So if you need to check up on that, you'll find that on my channel, or if you go over to Seriously Scrapping, you'll find it on her channel. So this is the video response to promote part 2 of this combined challenge. And part 1 is to make a tag, part 2 is to do an altered box or an altered birdcage. Okay, so the items, the entries that you make must be posted to Irene. Now Irene lives in Australia, so if you live out of Australia, that needs to be taken into account. Now the altered box, minimum size for that is 10 centimetres by 5 centimetres. And Heather thinks 10 centimetres, Irene thinks 10 centimetres is around about 4 inches. So, but you know, it might be a good idea to check a conversion chart if you work in inches, as I do. So that's the minimum size, 10 centimetres by 5 centimetres. There's no restriction on how big the box you alter is. For example, I'm going to be altering a cigar box, if I can find the one I've got somewhere hidden in my craft room. So that's a bit bigger than that. But obviously she doesn't want you sending something massively huge into her, in her words. Okay, so the colours for this altered box and the styles. Irene has given you the option of doing shabby chic, Victorian or vintage style, or French Moulin Rouge. For the shabby chic, if you decide to do your altered box in that style, she'd like the colours to be ivory, cream, white and baby pink. Now she's allowing optional touches of lilac, soft pale green and peach if you want to put those in, but they are optional. So the colours that she's looking for, if you're going to do shabby chic in your box alteration, are ivory, cream, white and baby pink. If you decide to do vintage or Victorian style, I've just skipped one, beg your pardon. If you decide to do French Moulin Rouge style, Irene would like you to do that in the colours of gold, maroon, black and yellow. Now if you decide to do the style in vintage or Victorian, those two styles, vintage and Victorian, can be done in any of the other colours. So you could do them in white, ivory, baby pink, cream, or you could do them in gold, maroon, black and yellow. And you can also add touches of soft pale green, peach and lilac. And I think what Irene says on her video is that if you decide to do I think it's the vintage, she'd quite like gold, maroon, black and yellow in that one, but you don't have to. You can do it in the white, ivory, baby pink and cream colours. Okay, so the materials that she'd like you to use on your altered box for decoration that you have to include for this challenge are lace, satin trim and mulberry flowers. If you choose to do vintage or Victorian style, Irene would like you to pop in a cameo. But I mean, you can pop in a cameo if you're doing any of the styles, but particularly if you're doing vintage or Victorian, she would definitely like a cameo in that styles. Also, for all of the styles, so that's shabby chic, vintage, Victorian or Moulin Rouge, For all of those styles, Irene would like some patterned paper included. It doesn't have to cover the whole box. It can just be a small part of the lid or a small part of the box, but she would like to see some pattern papers. So just to go over that, the materials that she'd like to see on those boxes of any of the styles would be lace, satin trim and mulberry flowers, plus some pattern paper. And if you're going to be doing vintage or Victorian, a cameo. Okay, so moving on to the altered birdcage, if you choose to do that instead of the altered box. Again, minimum size in height is 10 centimetres. So that's, Irene thinks that's approximately 4 inches high, but you know, you may want to check on that. Again, there's no restriction on the size, but obviously not massively huge because you've got to post them to her. For this altered birdcage, Irene is stipulating that the style can only be shabby chic, and the colours to be worked in would be ivory, cream, white and baby pink. The materials that she'd like you to decorate your birdcage with will include lace, pearls, feathers, mulberry or fabric flowers. Or you can put both mulberry and fabric flowers if you want to. So you've got quite a nice scope of materials. You can of course add more materials, but these are the ones that she actually wants you to use for that shabby chic altered birdcage. The colours ivory, cream, white and baby pink, and the materials lace, pearls, feathers, mulberry and or fabric flowers. Okay, so getting on to the prizes. Now the prizes are cash prizes and they are in Australian dollars. And first prize is $50 cash, second prize is $40 cash, third prize is $30 cash. Now these cash prizes are actually, they cover both parts of the challenge. You don't enter part one and make a tag, and if you win you get $50. And then if you win part two because you've made an altered box, you get another $50. No, that's not the case. These prizes are for the combined. What you get by entering both the challenges, both parts of this challenge, are extra entries. So the prize for both or for one, whichever you however many you enter, is $50 first prize, $40 second prize, $30 third prize, and this will be a names drawn from a hat style challenge. Okay, now this challenge combined challenge is open to international crafters, and please remember that Irene lives in Australia. So if you live outside of Australia, as I do, then obviously you come under international crafter. Irene would like you to do a video response to promote part two of this part two of her challenge. And if you do the video response part two, plus you send the item in, which you have to do to enter, you will get 2 entries. If you send the item in, but you don't do a video response to promote this part two of the challenge, you just get 1 entry. So for sending your item in, you get 1 entry. If you do the video response to promote the challenge, you get an extra entry. So for example, if you enter both parts of the challenge, for example you do a tag and you do an altered box for part 1 and part 2, and you do a video response promotional video for both part 1 and part 2, as I'll be doing, you will get a maximum of 4 entries. Obviously if you enter part 1 only and you make a tag and do a video response to promote part 1, you'll get 2 entries. So I'm sure you can work that out for yourselves. but a maximum of 4 entries. Now obviously you don't have to enter both parts of this combined challenge. You can just enter part 1 or you can just enter part 2. It just means that you get less entries into the challenge. The deadline to get your entries into Irene in Australia is the 20th of October. So that's, I think, about another 3 weeks. So you've still got plenty of time, even if you live in England or UK. Okay, so just recapping, Irene is Seriously Scrapping on YouTube. So pop over to her Seriously Scrapping channel if you can't understand what I'm saying, and check out her part 1 and part 2 and get seriously scrapping, guys. This is going to be fun. Bye.